Fifth Mascot. Not the first, not the second, not the sixth, but the fifth. Along with Mike Cannon and Mr. Zach. Ken Broo is always here on Thursday afternoons with you. Gentlemen, welcome. It's been an interesting week. It could be an interesting week coming up for Joey Votto. Let's talk a little bit about that off the top. Votto bumped the umpire last night. Very apologetic. Doesn't think it's going to be anything that's big, but they hand out suspensions for these things. Mike, I think he's going to get at least a game.
That's what I think. I think he'll get one game. I think David Ortiz got one game for his bump of the umpire earlier this year. I think it's one game. They probably announce it in the next couple days, and I don't think he even bothers to appeal it.
But that umpire ought to be suspended because he baited Votto. Votto's halfway up the first base line, and Ralph decides he's going to make a confrontation out of the deal. I mean, honestly, shouldn't the ump go for a game?
Hey, why not? They can both go to a matinee or something, get some popcorn and hang out.
Yeah,
sure. Talk it out.
But I think it highlights the fact that Joey Votto has a temper, and I like that, for crying out loud. This is a team that's devoid of passion. Dude's got a temper. Why not?
Well, also, he knows what the strike zone is. And so when the umpire calls something that's not a strike, he feels like he has a right to get a little upset about it.
And he tells him that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not that you want to umpire from, but I mean,
the batter's box.
Well, yeah, but he knows his craft.
Yeah.
Fred, who knows if he knows his craft? Half those guys, you can't find them with a search warrant anyway after a game.
That was a perfect pitch, though, he whiffed on. I mean, he struck out on a pretty sweet pitch.
Yeah.
But,
Well, you got to miss, you might as well miss big.
That's right.
I can't figure out what this team is. I really can't. 1 week, I'm absolutely ecstatic, like I am today. And another week, I'm absolutely apoplectic, like I'll probably be here next week. But the fact of the matter is where is this team? They split with the Braves. They got the Pirates number. I think if they play the Pirates and the Brewers the rest of the season, they're okay.
That'd be great.
They're a game over 500, and yet I'm reading on ESPN.com today, they're talking about, well, Mike Leake would be a good trade prospect when this thing blows up.
Jeez.
I don't know, where are they, Mike?
Well, here's the really odd thing. Despite all the ups and downs, if the season ended today, which there's still like 130-some games, they'd be in a playoff with San Diego for the second wild card spot.
How about that?
I love it.
How about that?
So they have the 5th best record in the National League.
Okay.
I guess you have to take that with all the,
That and $2 will get you a cup of coffee.
Since we last were meeting for this show, they spent 6 days on the road. They won four out of 6. I mean, they were muttering at 500. That's the first step, and the way back into the game.
By the way,
well, he had to make an adjustment. It sometimes
he's adjusting
that happens.
What?
An adjustment. It's a technical thing you wouldn't understand.
That was Brian.
He's still there. See,
Camera does work. That's good.
Yes.
Good. I was wondering about it.
But they started out 6-0 against the Pirates. I mean, that's it's kind of like the Reds playing the Cardinals or something like that.
By the way, is Brian channeling C. Trent Rosecrans with that beard? I mean, it looks like you could be his cousin or something there, Brian.
Yeah, we had a story on the news the other day about the
bacteria that lives in
I think this would be, I should,
Bacteria. Yeah.
Based off of one guy.
Yeah.
The story's based off of one guy.
The doctor said he saw things that he'd never seen before when they took the culture out of his beard.
Face down.
The doctor should come to WCPO on a daily basis. He might see things he'd never seen before. But getting back to this split with the Braves, and I suppose touching on last night, and I know we're going to get to the Pirates, but I'm looking at this, and even with the loss, Desclafani, still, I like him. I really like him. He throws tonight, like him a lot. And I like Leake. I mean, I don't know what Leake's doing here, but his ground balls are like, and his fly ball outs are going down. What's the deal here, Satin?
Well, I didn't like Mike Leake until the last 2 games where he's given up no runs. I mean, I love him now, right?
Right.
And, it's one of those things, too. I look at Mike Leake and his bat. The guy's hitting. I mean, I don't even know what his average is right now. But
it's not very good, but he's got clutch hits. He's got a home run and a double last night.
I will. You know what? I'll take him over Mesoraco right now. I mean, right in the DH spot when we go to Chicago. DH. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a pleasure to watch him play. He's just an all-around baseball player.
Yeah.
He fields his position.
He's smart.
He bats well. Right, he's smart. He just knows how to play baseball. There was a pop fly the other day that landed around where the on-deck circle was, which usually they tell the pitcher not even to go after.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the only Red that was anywhere near it, and he caught it.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later in the game, he hits a home run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like watching him play because he's smart. He doesn't overpower anybody. He's just a good baseball player. Like, knows everything he's supposed to do.
I didn't mean to cut you off there. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I'll control who can talk.
Oh, yes, you will.
You can speak for
now. Everybody's talking about Cueto getting dealt. I think Leak might go before Cueto if it comes to pass.
Well, and you earlier in the season asked, did the Reds make the wrong move in extending Bailey's contract and re-signing him instead of Cueto? But I think the question could be much more valid if you compared Bailey and Leak versus Bailey and Cueto, because Cueto's going to demand a lot more money than Leak or Bailey would have. But if you look at Leak's numbers compared to Bailey, Leak is 55-43 in his career with a 3.85 ERA. He's 27. Bailey re-signed when he was 28. Bailey is 58-51 with a 4.19 ERA.
Wow.
You see, I think there wasn't the universal belief that, and I mean inside that organization, that Leak was going to be long-term a good as pitcher as Bailey, because he's not a power guy.
Yep. I think that held on for a long time, probably until 2013. Of like, is this guy ever going to be more than like a fifth starter kind of guy? Because he doesn't throw it hard enough.
And there's a general, I think, prejudice against undersized right-handers. I just think there is. And the dude for Houston, I forget his name, Roy somebody. What was that guy's name? Oswalt. Always had the Reds number. I thought he put that to bed.
He dominated the Reds.
Yeah, and even Cueto, a little undersized in terms of stature, not necessarily waist, a little undersized right-hander. I thought they put all of that to rest. And here's Leak, who appears to be somebody that's going to consistently give you innings and get people out. So you're right. They might have made the wrong move there, but on a different level. Instead of Bailey, it should have been Leak.
Well, and if you look at Bailey and Leak in terms of their build and their makeup, they couldn't be more different. I mean, Bailey is your absolute prototypical, the guy the scouts love. Leak is your guy that the sabermetric people love.
Right.
He gets ground balls. I think I saw he had like 23 ground ball outs last night. I mean, that is insane. Like, at one point, I think it was like the sixth inning, and they had like one ball out of the infield. It's crazy.
That's awesome. What's his contract look like right now, though?
He's done after this year.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's done.
Our whole pitching staff is out.
Cueto are both free agents.
Jeez.
Not wise to have all these expiring contracts. That gets into the whole business of what's going on down there. Let's talk about this Pirates series, because so far so good in that. Mike Lorenzen, I want to call this dude Jared Lorenzen, but you talk about guys.
Quarterback? Yeah.
But Mike Lorenzen.
Looks like Jared Lorenzen too. He might have a good arm.
I mean, I think
the bullpen.
I don't know. I mean, it's a couple of starts, but Lorenzen looks like the real deal. He got whacked around pretty good, gave up those 3 home runs his first start up here, but he's a pitcher who also can hit. And then last night, Leak, and the Pirates are supposed to be the bellwether in this division, and they're certainly not. But that's they've got Pittsburgh's number right now.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Cardinals earlier, but the Cardinals only have 7 losses at this point in time, and they have a lot of wins against the Reds. So, I mean, you wonder, like, how much of the Reds' struggles were the fact that the Cardinals and Cubs were playing pretty well when they played them, and how much of their success is that the Brewers and the Pirates are just awful.
Right.
They're going to be bad this year, and they're really bad right now because they have injuries, at least in the Brewers' case. But, I mean, McCutchen's not doing anything for the Pirates, and that's the whole linchpin to their team. Their offense, they just can't get it going. If it weren't for the great starting pitching, they'd be really in trouble right now.
So it's the Cardinals and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's trying to.
in the division right now. Yeah,
The Cardinals are awesome.
They're 13 over 500 after a month of the season.
How do you lose your
ridiculous.
ace? How do you lose your ace and still do what they do?
I don't get it. I mean, they're like the new Yankees. I mean, they're like the Yankees of the 60s, 70s, whatever right now. I mean, we got to be, everyone's trying to catch up to whatever they're doing over there.
Yeah,
disgusting.
They lost their ace, and they still have the best starting rotation ERA in the National League. That's crazy.
And the best relief pitching ERA in the National League. They have both.
And go up and down their everyday 8 and look at the on-base percentage. Not just this year, but historically. I mean, they just do things the right way. And this team has a lot of guys that can't get out of their own way. And again, we sat here last week. I said it was godlike that they were a game under 500. Now it's beyond that. It's like Zeus and Methuselah and all these other guys just got together and they're a game over 500. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What? Well, nobody's going to strike you with lightning. So
I'm trying to figure out
afraid you're gonna
Zeus.
straight to
What
hell.
was the second one?
Methuselah.
Yeah.
That's a god. That's the god that never aged. You never age.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
I'm thinking of
Saw John
Medusa.
before.
No, that's
Right, I was thinking that
So
too. I was like,
never
that's
mind.
not a god. That's the woman with the
Marlon
snake
Brando.
hair.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he's back from the dead.
Who, Marlon?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean,
Well, for at
he
least
had
a few
one
days.
game.
Couple
Yeah,
days,
it's been a
couple
good
games.
series,
He's
you
5
know?
for 10 in the last couple games
Yeah.
or something like that.
I don't know.
He's hit
I
pretty
agree.
well
I don't
last
know,
week.
but it's a sign of life. It's a pulse.
yeah.
You
How
know.
bad is it when it's a sign of life when a guy's hitting 207?
Well, he's hitting like 400 for the week.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's
You
With
know.
400, I think it's 389 with 3 homers in the last week, 6 RBIs.
Keep it
That's
coming. We
pretty
need
solid.
it. I mean, we got to have that. So somebody's got to step up. Why not Bird? You know, that's
Well, yeah, I'm not going to say it. The Reds' offense, honestly, has been all right. I mean, it's big ball. It's 37 in the league, 37 home runs, second in the league. 232, not good.
Well, can
RSIP, 202, not good. 206.
Can the home runs carry us? That's the question.
No.
Well, that's all they got. It's amazing how they got this. They're hitting home runs, but their offense overall is terrible. They're second in home runs. They're 12th in average, 14th with runners in scoring position.
that's the number.
This is almost like Jim Bowden.
But with runs, the runs are the number that really matters. It's like points in football. The runs are, and they're 9th in the National League, which is still below average.
Yeah, but here's the deal. I mean, when they built that ballpark, they built it to be a home run ballpark. And then they started drafting guys and cultivating guys to hit home runs. They had Adam Dunn, Austin Kearns, Aaron Boone. Now they got Jay Bruce. It's like you don't win that way.
Yeah.
I don't care how many games you play in a park. You don't win that way.
Yeah, a lot of times home runs are off the pitcher's mistakes, and you can't rely on that, especially you get to playoff baseball time when you're facing Clayton Kershaw. You can't rely on Clayton Kershaw making a mistake. So, one of the things that's interesting as I started to delve into the numbers, so they have 37 home runs. They're last in the National League in doubles. They have 25 doubles. The next closest team to them is the Phillies that has 34, and then above the Phillies, the team is the Giants, and they have 40. So you're talking about 15 doubles between them and
Wow.
the two teams ahead of them. So they're not hitting doubles at all, but they are hitting home runs. So you have to wonder, are they just getting a bunch of homers that just scrape over the wall, or what's going on
Yeah.
here?
And they're
Because that's
hitting
just a
them
really
on the
odd.
road.
Yeah.
People think that the Reds hit home runs because they got a great American ballpark, but they have the most road home runs of any team in the National League this year.
How
Yeah.
many home
So
runs did the
far.
Cardinals have?
I thought I was the only guy that couldn't get to second base. Brooks, try the deal. No, but Brandon Phillips, what does he have? He has like one extra base hit?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's
bad.
got.
I think
One
that's what he's
extra
got.
base hit. He's
And it feels like they're caught between like playing small ball and then hitting home run. They got these guys like Cozart. You got guys like Hamilton and things like that you want to get on base, move them around, but it's just not happening.
I don't think they're playing small ball at all. They're
Well,
not
it's
able
like
to
they
get
have the
guys
players
in.
for that, and then I don't know. It's tricky when you start thinking about that.
Well, and lost in the fact that they won yesterday was the fact that they started the game. You're facing Garrett Cole, who coming in was the National League Pitcher of the Week. So you would think runs are at a premium. You get Hamilton and Bird on second and third with nobody out, and you can't score a run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's scary. And if they lose that game, everyone will be pointing at that, and not the Votto ejection, not the league outing.
Right.
But I mean, you get second and third with the meteor lineup coming up and nobody out, and you can't get a run home. That's not good.
You think Frazier will ever be able to do anything? Will he continue to hit home runs, or will he ever get his average up? I mean, he's leading the league in home runs. He's batting .228. That's like Dave Kingman or something.
Yeah, it's like Adam Dunn. The other guy in right field is basically the same way. Only he's hitting about 30 points slower than Frazier. So it's like I don't know. I mean, it's just there's too many guys I think on this team that approach the game and approach at bats the same way, and it's been that way for a long time. But I think it's an epidemic inside the organization. I think they bring guys in there, and they cultivate them to be home run hitters because they know they play 81 games in a bandbox. And for that matter, they play in a bandbox on the road in Chicago and a bandbox on the road in Pittsburgh. So I'm sure that's part of the thinking when they get these guys. Yeah, well, if they only hit 240, so what? But let's see if they can hit 25 home runs. I think it's flawed.
Well, I think it must be the way they draft and select people. They're just not getting a lot of really good patient hitters. I mean, Votto is incredibly patient. He is by far the exception. But they have taken steps. When they brought in like Shin-Soo Choo, he was a super patient hitter, really works counts, and that worked. But you couldn't afford him, and I think we're all thankful that they didn't sign him to the long-term deal Texas signed him to. But I think that's one of the things that really gives me pause about this team is that they have so many guys that sort of fit the same mold, and that's sort of the core of their team is Cozart and Frazier and Mesoraco, and they're not guys who work counts. They're aggressive guys who strike out a lot. And so how are you going to fix that problem when all those guys, and their track records are there? It's not like all of a sudden they're going to come into the next season and be like, you know what, I think I'm going to take an extra 50 or 60 walks this year and get my on-base percentage up to 400. That's not going to happen.
No. Yeah. Sat, you're on the streets down there and over the Rhine. What are they talking about like at Holtman Donut Shop about?
Hey, well, I mean, we're all excited for the long ball. Everybody loves home runs, right? But that doesn't get you in the playoffs.
Dig the long ball.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, every sort of chicken, ladies, whatever. They all love the home run ball. But that doesn't get you in the playoffs. These home runs.
Home runs. Okay, I'm sorry.
You lost me at Holtman's Donuts.
Yeah,
Chicken sandwiches don't get you though.
Hey, how do we get Holtman Donuts on here and start bringing us some stuff, man? That'd be pretty good.
There's
I like
enough
that.
excitement down there. I think with Holtman Donut. But yeah, we'll take some.
You got me a donut.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, we all love that. But I'm sitting there looking at that. We're still excited for the team.
Very.
But you got a guy like Hamilton who you got to get on any sort of way you can, and he's sitting there popping these little pop-ups. He hit the ball on the ground. Makes me think of like Major League, the movie.
Right.
And the guy hits the pop, he drops and gives him 20. I mean, I think we should maybe look at something like that for these guys.
That's a real that's a real problem. I mean, Billy Hamilton. I mean, this isn't. Again, it's like Bruce. It's not a slump. It's a trend. He didn't hit after July last year, and now this. I mean, his on-base percentage is what? That's slugging. What's his on-base? His on-base is probably like 260, 265.
That's bad. He needs to lean into some pitches.
Because he's the only I was.
Yeah.
Because if that's all he can do. It's all he's got is speed.
Yeah, but you love him on the base path. I mean, you would think there'd be a coach there. I don't know. We need to get Pete Rose in there or something. How to get these guys on base? How to get him on base?
He was trying to bunt, but that wasn't working. He was popping it up.
This whole team cannot bunt.
Yeah, well,
this whole
he was
organization
trying.
can't.
He tried to do that pull bunt, whatever you call it, when you punt it to the second baseman, and that's never worked. He's tried it about a half a dozen times, and it's never worked.
That's the thing that's
practice?
really frustrating. I mean, how do you have that much speed? I mean, it's not like he all of a sudden became fast. I mean, he's been a fast ball player since he's first picked up a baseball bat. He's probably been the fastest guy on the field.
Right.
How do you not get to the point where you can bunt successfly? All he has to do is he doesn't even have to be a perfect bunt. He can, as long as he doesn't bunt it right at the pitcher. Or
I don't think I've seen him put one in play.
I've seen sacrifice once this year.
We should have a bunting clinic here.
Which is not what you want your leadoff hitter to
and
do.
for anyone else, it probably would have been a double play.
They used to have a bunt instructor years ago when Jerry Narron was the manager. They had a bunt instructor. Eddie Napoleon would fly up every homestand from Sarasota. He was I don't know, when Narron was with the Yankees. Trivia fact, when Thurman Munson died, that Jerry Narron was the catcher? Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Anyway, not to get off on a tangent, but they would bring Napoleon up, and he would instruct these guys on how to bunt. And I was down there watching one day, and he's in there showing us, and this is 2005. There was absolutely no interest on the part of the players. He might as well have been talking about how to successfully take trash out to the curb, because nobody was interested in this. And I asked him afterwards. He goes, "Yeah." He said most major league players don't want it. They think it's a wasted at bat when they go up there to bunt. It's just stupid.
You're getting these contracts paid to get on and get home. I mean, any way you can get on there. The art of bunting is gone, and it shouldn't be. I mean, that's a way to get on base.
Well, tell Drew Stubbs that. He'd still be there.
I don't think I've seen an executed bunt from anyone on this team. We could talk about bunting this whole episode.
I think Cueto executed a bunt. I think he did. No, I think he did. And there was like one other one.
You're right.
Well, that was about it.
I remember
That's
Hamilton
bad.
doing one, and then it was like, and I think there was one where someone like Phillips bunted one, and then they left the guys on second and third, and kind of thing. Like the one time they actually get the bunt down, then they can't get the run in.
I remember that one. Yeah, they almost made a double play.
But I saw this. This is interesting. If I talked about this before, please stop me, because a lot of things anymore I forget that I say them and I repeat myself.
We'll check the tape,
right.
but go ahead.
But I saw this on one of the internets, and it said that a guy on first base with nobody out stands a 9/10. It's like 0.9 the chance of him scoring. The guy on first base, or like 9. What would that be? It wouldn't be like 1% of the time.
Oh my God, you've lost us.
What? It wouldn't be.
When's
It
Holman
wouldn't be.
Donuts coming by?
It's like 0.9% of the time a guy on first base scores with no outs. 0.72% of the time a guy on second base with one out scores. So statistics would prove, as maybe as minimal as that if you're on first with nobody out, if you do sacrifice, it may not be the best thing.
Well,
Interesting.
and that's what the whole
No, it's not. Don't play
Well, I
Kate.
mean,
Write that down, and we'll bring that up
Bruce
at a
hit two triples in a game. I don't know what's going on. So I mean, that's crazy enough. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
on the bunting
Yeah.
side, that's the whole Moneyball philosophy: is you're giving away outs, and statistically, if you take all the data and look at it all as a big macro level, you're better off not giving away
Right.
outs, because you run yourself out of the big inning. You look at a team like this, can they keep the line moving to even have a big inning?
Right,
But then
but
can they get a
when you
sacrifice
bet
fly
two-
to get the
when you
runner
bet
from
200
third?
with
Like,
runners
Yeah,
in
yeah.
front,
You
it doesn't
can't,
matter.
you can't get, this team can't give you a big inning, because the problem is there's too many guys on this team that strike out. You get a little mojo going, and all of a sudden here's Jay Bruce. Put the shift on, that's the end of that tune. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. The big inning is just like a lost art with this team. By the way, baseball is the only sport that's mentioned in the Bible. Did you know that?
Wow.
did not know that.
Right there in the beginning. It's in the big inning. Anyway,
All right, we're going to shift gears.
All right.
This
He's got a
week-
lot of
wait a minute now. I've got more things here.
Well, you work on Genesis and Exodus, and we'll go on to this week in Reds history.
Okay.
May 9th, 1973.
Yes.
How about that? Lefty and Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench went yard on him 3 times for the second time in his career. For the second time in his career. 2 Hall of Famers head-to-head, but Bench owned him. Bench owned Lefty for most of their careers. But on May 9th in 1973, one of the franchise 4. Would you bet? Are you voting on the franchise 4?
Oh, the voting ends this week.
Does it?
I already
Yeah.
said.
Tomorrow.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Carlton was a great pitcher, and he never liked to talk to people like Ken Broo.
Right. And I told him once, I'm sorry, I don't
not?
talk to.
He didn't talk to anybody. He didn't talk to the media. He didn't talk to the media. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you get fined for that? Was it one of those?
No, he spent 20 years not talking to the media.
Wow.
He was kind of like, what was that guy for the Reds? Belcher. Belcher used to do that. He'd put a sign up.
No, John Denny.
No, but Belcher did that too,
Did
didn't
he?
he? Yeah, yeah. But Johnny Bench, I don't know. He's
Bench
the
owned a
greatest.
lot of guys.
He's the greatest catcher of all time. But
Yeah.
is he one of the best 4?
I don't know
ever?
if he's the greatest
Oh, yeah.
catcher of all time, but he's certainly top 3.
Who's better?
Well,
Yes.
I think if you're going to
Bo
talk about
Diaz?
greatest catchers of all time, you have to include Yogi Berra in the discussion.
I don't agree with
Who's-
that, but okay.
Never saw him.
Wait a minute, he's one of the top
Never saw
50
him.
players of all time, so you would have to, and he was a catcher, and so you would have to at least include him in the conversation, right? And then there was a guy that played back in, I don't know, like the 20s or the 30s or the 40s. He was good. I can't remember his name, but he was
Must be
good.
pretty memorable.
Yeah,
no,
he
he
was awesome.
No, he was
that
true.
guy.
That's when you first started watching baseball, is that right, Broo?
Thurman Munson.
Yeah, about 1926 is when I think I first saw it. No, but I would say Bench. Did we do this? Bench, Rose, Morgan, and Robinson would be my guys.
See, I'm on the fence with like Morgan and like Eric Davis. Kind of. I mean,
What?
yeah. I like or Barry Larkin. The home. Come on, the home.
No.
Well, see, I don't know
Homer,
if they're,
come
I don't
on,
know
home guy.
if they're talking about careers. I agree. You don't put Eric Davis in, but I said before, I think Eric Davis was the best baseball player I ever saw play when he was
There you go.
on his
Eric
game.
Davis was a great ball player.
When he was on his game, if he could have played for more games in a season and played for more seasons, now that there's a lot of people that would be true for.
But he's not.
when
You can't say he's one of the 4 greatest players in the history.
No,
of the franchise.
because I think you're talking about careers.
Right.
But no, if you're talking about just when he was on the field, there's a lot of people that would come into the conversation who aren't. But I think he was the truest of 5-tool players that you're ever going to see.
I picked the same 4 guys you did, Ken.
Me?
Yeah.
Really?
I
Yeah.
think there's a prejudice in the way this thing is set up because it almost excludes pre-1960 ball players.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and everybody
Yeah.
said, and listen, Barry Larkin was great. Eric Davis was great. But that 1956 Reds team was off the charts. Wonderful. And you got guys on that team, you know, you had Gus Bell and you had Wally Post and you had
Klug,
you
yeah.
had Clue and you had Robinson. So I mean, how can you not look at that and say,
That's
hey,
a good point.
there's some franchises you can't find for. But
Yeah.
this franchise,
Well, that's why
you probably find
that's why I think
30.
Yogi Berra is overrated. A lot of players are on great teams,
Right.
And he was on the Yankees when they won a 10 World Series or something like that. And you know, it's like Hall of Fame in football. If you're a quarterback and you win the Super Bowl, you're almost always going to get in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, but
if you're a guy like Kenny Anderson, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get much talk.
But could you argue then, I mean, using that argument, if the Reds never traded for Joe Morgan, would he certainly would have been one of the 4 greatest in the history of the Colt 45s, but I mean, could you then say that Joe Morgan was a great ball player? Would he have been the player if he wasn't traded?
Well,
We don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
It's a
would
difficult
Lee
thing.
May have been, one of the 4 if he had stayed
Instead
here?
of Tony Perez,
Right. We don't know. We don't know.
They're pretty fascinating debates too, because I mean, as hard as the Reds' choice is, then you end up with guys like Larkin and others on the outside looking into that list. When the Reds were playing the Braves over the weekend, they flashed up the 8 that you had to choose from for the Braves, and it's just like, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's Warren Spahn and Hank Aaron,
Dale Murphy.
and Eddie Matthews. Dale Murphy's not even close.
Yeah.
Then you like Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. I mean, you could have 3 of the
Well, see,
4
that's why I
could be
think
from
Dale
the
Mur- I
same
think
starting
Dale Murphy-
rotation. Like,
Dale Murphy was better than a lot of those guys, but he just never played on a team that was really good, like the Braves of the 90s.
If you're the Yankees,
John
how do you choose
Rocker.
4 Yankees?
And how do
yeah.
how do they come to 4? I don't. What's the ad wizards behind 4? Why does it have to be 4?
Because it begins with F.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe
do
make
5.
it 3. You got to be on the podium, right?
Yeah, but then you got
3, 2, 1. 4th place is.
Then you got to look at like the Rays though, and you got to be like, oh, is Carlos Pena is going to be in your franchise 4? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would be the 4 for Tampa?
I guess Longoria would be 1.
Wade Boggs?
Wade Boggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
the,
Wade
the
Boggs
last
was
2
there for
years of
He's like a player manager down there, wasn't he?
yeah.
Probably David Price.
Can
Didn't
they
Price
put Joe Madden on that?
Yeah.
David Price, I'm
Price?
sure.
Yeah.
And Josh Hamilton.
Was he? Oh,
No.
yeah, that's
No,
right.
he never-
He almost
got
did.
drafted.
He got
He should
drafted.
have.
Does Fred McGriff ever play for them?
Fred McGriff, I think, played
Yeah,
for
there we
him.
go. Put him in there.
The crime dog.
Crime dog, yeah.
But I mean, some of these franchises, how do you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
find 4. Some of these, I mean, if you're if you're the Yankees, Mantle's not even in the discussion. And like
That's
Mickey
ridiculous.
Mantle was quite possibly with Mays the definitive outfielder of a generation.
Yeah, I mean, he could drink whiskey all day and come to the park at night.
Damn right he could.
That's amazing. I mean,
And that should be in one of the criteria
Yeah.
for being in the franchise 4.
Right.
yeah. Whiskey drinking,
What if
cigar.
they had it like an all drunk 4 in
Hey,
each franchise?
no, Doc Ellis.
Then Babe,
Doc Ellis.
then
No,
Babe
it would
Ruth.
be- He would be at the
Come
top
on,
of the
he's
tree, right?
yeah. I just watched that documentary. It was amazing. One of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's so great.
Babe Ruth would be at the top, though.
Oh yeah,
Babe
that's
Ruth
true.
would be up there,
Right,
yeah.
right. I think he would eat sandwiches at the plate.
Billy Martin had managed the team.
I was gonna say that might be tough for the Yankees even if you just excluded it to drunks.
Oh my
Looking
gosh.
at some hard numbers here.
Yes.
The
Oh.
Cardinals, it's hard to look at when you look at the division. It's
Now, but
hard to
Mike
look
said
at.
if the season ended today, that it'd be the Reds and the Padres in a 1-game playoff for the second wild card. So that's not bad.
Nice.
All we got to do is get the season to end like right now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, let's face it. I think we're all realists here.
There we go.
If they're not playing the Brewers and they're not playing the Pirates, they may not have a win.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
it would be the Cubs and the Reds actually. The Padres they're sort of tied with us. We have a better winning percentage.
Mike said the
Well,
Padres.
yeah,
though.
statistically, the Padres they would play for the second because they're
To play
They've
for the
played
second
different
place,
number of
right?
games.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to say with that.
See,
With the,
he knows what he's talking about. That's the
Well,
difference here, okay? So don't.
an uneven number-
This
we
guy
ha-
runs the web. Don't
No.
run him down now.
If you did it by winning percentage, which with an uneven number of games, that's what you'd have to do. The Reds are ahead of the Padres, but you're
Yeah.
right. And games behind, it would be a tie, and we would have to play the Padres.
Will we play that game at home though, or away?
We haven't played them, so I don't know what the tiebreaker would be.
Wait a minute here. Now look at this. There are only three losses out of third place overall.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Well,
Second place.
the top three would not be in. The top three would be division leaders. This is a little bit of a misleading thing. The top three would be division leaders. The Cubs and the Reds and the
Yeah.
Padres would be the wild card teams. The Reds would be tied with the Padres for the second spot.
Yeah, but my point is, I mean, they're 14 and 13, and
This is like the NBA, where almost anybody over 500 can go to the
Yeah,
playoffs.
but Matt, they're 14 and 13, so they're only 3 losses worse than the third best record in baseball. I mean, I don't think it's Armageddon yet. It may be here quite
It's
soon.
not. It's not. It certainly looked that way for a little while in the
Yeah.
second week of the season when they were just going south and they lost about 8 out of 9 or
No,
something
I think
like that.
I mean, look, are they a great team? No, they got a lot of guys that hit 228 and strike out a lot, but you know what? But Phillips is hitting the ball, Votto's hitting the ball, the
They
other
got at
guy,
least
Kozart's
3
hitting the ball.
Starting pitching.
The other guy.
I mean, they can
Starting
go.
pitching
it's
solid.
Yeah, I mean, they can go toe to toe with anybody. It keeps us in the game, I think.
And
our starting pitching till the 6th inning. They were-
If Cingrani is legit in the 8th, which he's looked pretty dominant so far, that makes that bullpen much more palatable.
They're
Yeah,
3
that's
out
true.
short right now. They're 3 out short, and they can get those 3 outs by bringing up Iglesias or Mascot right now.
So true.
Yeah.
And they can give Kevin Gregg a version of the home game and have him take Burke Baden off with him. Okay?
Yeah.
But the problem is
Open up that restaurant.
I don't think Walt wants to walk into Bob C's office and say, hey, you're going to have to dine on about $2.5 million worth of salary right now. I mean, dude, you made a mistake. It's okay. I make mistakes. Tell the owner it ain't working out. Here come a couple of guys that are going to cost you like a scrambled egg breakfast. And the other guy can go away. That's what I do.
Hey, they can do something real nice though, and they can maybe come up with a plan to donate half that money. Let's say Kevin Gregg he realizes he's no longer. What if you get something where they donate that money to charity and then everybody looks good?
So you
So
say
Kevin
Greg
Gregg.
would donate?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you're saying
yeah,
Greg
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
take the money? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, why not? You look then you're terrible, but you look like a saint, right? You got to come out
Cincinnati
positive
loves you.
somewhere, right?
I don't know.
Hey,
how-
you would
I don't
get
know-
him a
I don't know-
statue made
I
for
don't know
that.
I don't know who wouldn't take looking terrible for $2.5 million. I would do it. I'd take a lot of
Well,
things for
and you also have to
$2.5
think so if Greg's making $1.5 million and he gets cut by the Reds, this is probably his last major league contract.
What?
So.
And he's already got money. This guy's already got money. He's old.
His
He's been
last
there.
major league contract, when they came to him in the offseason and said, we like you to pitch for us, he probably fainted. He probably fell off his couch.
Well, that
He
was only
still
a
looks
minor
pretty
league
diesel,
contract at
though.
that time, but he's still probably
That's
faded.
right.
He still looks like he's in pretty good shape, though. I mean, he's an older guy, but
Well, I'm in pretty good shape for an older guy, too, but I can't strike anybody out or get people out.
well,
I don't
Yeah.
even go
We
out.
don't want to get into the validity of that statement. Okay.
I'm just saying, just because somebody's
you know.
in shape doesn't mean that they're any good.
well,
Yeah.
in baseball, you can get away with it though, a little bit more,
He's still throwing like 95, which is right down the middle.
right?
All right, who do we like tonight? DeSclafani versus another very good pitcher, Burnett. Try to get 2 straight sweeps over the Pirates.
I'm having some baked ziti tonight for dinner, so I like DeSclafani. I just
Nice.
think there's some mojo going tonight.
Little Tony Soprano.
I like DeSclafani. I think one of the things is Burnett is one of those like crafty veterans that just
Yeah.
like twist the Reds in knots. Like they just get up there swinging for the fences, and he gets them to ground it to shortstop every time.
Dude is tatted up, though. Have you seen Burnett?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like a walking comic
Yeah.
book. He's almost like that guy that played for the Miami Heat. What's that guy, the Birdman?
Oh yeah, you got the whole
yeah.
neck stuff.
The
I
basket,
mean-
yeah.
I'm predicting though Burnett gives. I say gives about 4 or 5 runs in the first, and then he's lights out from there.
And then
He's
we
got like a 1.5 ERA or something like that.
Let me
doesn't
ask you this,
Burnett?
because this
That means
he
he's
can
due.
Be, he
He's
can
due
be
to
a
get
great.
burned.
He can be a
Exactly.
great pitcher. And then we go to the South Side to play the Chi Sox.
Right.
What do you think about interleague play?
I think it's stupid, and
It's
I think
horrible.
I'm over it, and
It's
they ought
horrible.
to just, it's like it was a freak show, and everybody liked it, but now it's like, who cares? I don't care about it no
It
more.
messes,
Like, play
it
the
messes
Cincinnati
up the
division.
schedule.
Right.
It messes up the schedule so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
come
I
on.
hate the way you don't. It used to be you played teams that you were going to have to deal with in the playoffs, and you played your division teams about 18 times a year, and now it's an uneven number of everything.
Right.
There's just nothing that makes any sense.
And do we need to see the Indians 6 times a year?
No.
We see him 6 times in the first week of spring training. Do we need to see him 6
yeah.
times again
Good
in
point.
May and June?
There are 2 things I like about the interleague play. One, so my family and I, we travel on a road trip for the Reds every year and go see a different stadium. And so you can go see the Reds
Nice.
play in a
You've
different
got to
stadium, and it cycles through some of those other
Not all
stadiums.
about you, though, Mike.
I know, but so that's one thing.
Yeah, please.
The other thing I like is we're actually going to get to see Devin Mesoraco swing the bat more than once.
Right.
That's true.
That's kind of
He
nice.
probably will be the DH.
Is it nice,
That's
though?
probably
I-
true. Well, he might be
mean,
able to
he's
get
an all-star last year,
They're not
25
giving. They're not
years.
giving. They're not giving up on him, so he might be able to get in
Yeah.
the groove because he can't. They're not putting him out in the field, so at least he can maybe
That
start to work
sound-
on his swing.
That sounded like surgery, isn't it? It's
Sounds
almost
like
like
surgery to me.
like-
I don't know what
They screwed this thing up 6 ways to Sunday. They're gonna. I mean, that
Oh,
dude's
man.
going under the knife, and everybody knows it. So they're gonna milk him through interleague play.
How many days? I mean, it's
Is there a
been
Devin
at least
Mesoraco
2
bobblehead
weeks.
night coming up? Is that
Oh
what?
yeah, that's how right.
I mean, good Lord! How
Yeah.
you couldn't screw that up more than they have.
Yeah, I just gotta hope that it was worse than they thought it was. But man, it's just
It's been at least
seems-
2 weeks, right?
It's been
He
like
can't
3
squat.
weeks.
Jeez.
And they
Oh,
haven't
he
even
can squat all right.
they haven't even attempted it yet. Like they haven't even
Right.
told him like get down in your catcher squat. Like
Right.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
that's
I'm
all
over it.
awful.
But I'm over it. But I wanted to ask this question because Ron Renicky, got a version of the home game this week. I'm wondering if the Pirates get swept, is Clint Hurdle in trouble? Because that was a team that was supposed to win it all in that division, and he's been there a while. I'm thinking he might be the next dude that is out the door and down the street.
I think it's possible. I mean,
You don't think it's a little too early?
No, it's never early to
There's
find
still only like 2 or 3 games. under
It's Tony
500.
Perez.
That's right.
Yeah, Tony.
Ask Jim Bowden.
Yeah,
Brewers skipper, he got the boot, didn't
he
he?
got the boot.
Yeah.
I just said
Replaced by
that.
Craig Counsell.
You got an IFB in there, son? I just said.
Hold
Ron
on,
Renicky.
I'm just getting it.
Okay.
There we, yeah, yes.
A little
yes.
delay. He's got a little delay.
He's getting
I
reports
was thinking
from the
about
West
that
Coast.
ziti you were talking about.
Yeah, is that
Wandering
homemade?
around.
You're still on the Holtman donuts.
I'm still thinking
Yep,
about
I'm
the
getting it.
donuts.
We're good now.
Is that homemade ziti, or are you going out for that tonight?
No, I make it.
Oh, you make it.
I cook, yeah. I
Okay.
cook.
Oh.
You should bring some in.
Yeah,
Every,
what's up
I
with
would
that?
like
How come we don't get it?
every Monday night I cook for my wife.
Well,
every Monday night.
this is Thursday.
Recipes with
This
the
is
Broo
Thursday,
man.
So
do it.
But now, no, they put me on dayside here. God knows. Oh, I know why. They didn't want me anchoring at 6 and 11. So they put me on dayside here. So I got nights off. I go home and I cook.
That's great.
nice.
Yeah.
A little red wine.
Oh, a lot of red wine. At my age, yeah.
Is this has this been a passion or a hobby, or where does it stand? For
I
all
just
these
started
years?
doing it. I just, because she works, and I thought, well, I'm off Mondays. I'll cook, and so I've
I
been
like
cooking
that.
on Mondays, and then on these off nights, it's I'll go home and cook too. So yeah, a little
Yeah.
baked ziti. Make my own spaghetti sauce and everything, and it's
Unreal.
ready to go.
Wow.
It's in the refrigerator. All I got to do is put it in the oven.
You a meatball guy, or?
I'm a big meatball.
All right, all right.
You and Kevin Gregg.
That's right.
Serving them up.
Does anybody know anybody
Oh,
on the White Sox, by the way? Does
No.
can you name anybody besides Samardzija?
Uribe?
I don't
Uriba.
know. I couldn't tell you 2 people on that
Uribe.
team.
They got
Uribe?
that.
they don't
He's
play.
all right.
They don't play real baseball. so
Frank
what's the
Thomas?
difference?
No, they don't.
Frank
Frank
Thomas.
Thomas.
Frank
Yeah.
Thomas.
He's still there. He's still DH, right?
Right.
Yeah. Frank Thomas and Minnie Minoso is still there. Yeah.
So I think the Carlos Rodon guy, he's like their top prospect, and he's making his first major league start against Cueto on Saturday.
Wow.
That's cool.
So
Wow, that's
like
pretty
it.
good. That's pretty good. That's all we know. Well, I thought this was an action
pretty
packed.
much all
Oh,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
I thought we got a lot of stuff out on
we
the
talked a
table.
lot about food, so
A
that's
lot
that's
of
good.
stuff right out there on the table.
And the Brewers, right?
Right.
He's still fired,
He's
right?
gone. Yeah, he's still out the door.
They
But-
still stink.
But I'll tell you what's great about this is if you're just tuning in right now, that every one of these episodes is posted because they have this deal now called time shifting, where you can see something when it's not really there, but it's really there when you want to see it.
Is that what they call it, Mike?
love
Is
that.
that what they
Time
call
shifting,
it
right?
back in the booth there?
That's what the cool kids call it.
Right,
Smoke and mirrors involved? What's going on there?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't involve VHS tapes or anything.
See, they told me about it. I thought there was a time machine involved, but I don't know.
Hot tub
Hot
maybe
tub
as well.
time machine.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a fan.
Did you like
I'm sitting there. I go to, I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I'll sit there and go to like hotels pouring bubblies on top of the hot tub just to see if I can travel or not. And
Emptying
it
the
hasn't
minibar?
happened yet, but.
Running up your tab on the minibar in the hot tub time machine.
I'm like, it's not going anywhere.
So if you get it to work, go into the future and tell us if the Reds make the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I heard the Cubs win in 2015 is what's going right now. That's what Back to the Future said, right?
Really?
Cubs win
Did they say that?
Didn't they say
back-
that?
Absolutely.
They said that?
Yeah.
Back to the future.
Really? They said the Cubs would win.
That's
in
what they
2000?
said this year, so that's
Well, that's what
mind-boggling.
they said in 1984.
I saw him win in '85 in my hot tub. 85
In
win.
your hot tub, you saw?
Yeah.
Did you have a hot tub?
No, I don't.
That's a champagne
But he
top.
will.
But I will.
In the future.
Maybe we could do this show. Can we get a deal done with like Watson's or something and like
That'd
have
be
a hot
great.
tub sitting here next week?
Green screen it in.
Yeah.
That'd be
We can
fun.
sit in it. In the green screen behind us.
The Willie Mo Pena bobblehead just bobbling on the edge of the.
You guys could eat
Oh, I
leftover
love that.
ziti in that thing.
There's tale that our staff.
Yes.
That's good.
There's tale that there is interest in someone sponsoring this broadcast, so don't screw
Really?
it up. Don't screw it up, okay?
We just-
Nice, nice job there.
Wow. Well,
Jeez.
All right.
I hope it's a food place because I'm hungry. Anyway,
donuts.
we're up 24/7 on WCPO.com. It's the Fifth Mascot. Tell your friends about us because honestly, if this thing goes in the tank, we're all out of work. Please, please. We'll see you next week.